crucially greedy.
What's up, jerks? It's been a while. Too long even? I won't make excuses for the delay between this video and the last, but rest assured, today, I've got a good one. For those of you who follow me on Twitter, you may have seen a tweet from me asking if you thought my 4.9 elixir deck was viable at the top of the ladder. The answer from you guys was a resounding no. I'm happy to report that your opinion is the wrong one. The deck is viable, and I've got proof. Okay guys, so let's take a look at my last couple games on the ladder. And this is top 50, right? So top of the ladder. As you can see here, my last 7 games have been straight wins, not a single loss. My first loss in my history here isn't until we go back to the previous deck I was running, which is your standard P.E.K.K.A freeze with Balloon. And then you can see prior to that, pretty inconsistent wins. You know, I have a win and a loss, a win and a loss. I mean, if we go even further down, you see a lot more losses, some of them to my clanmates and friendlies. But I just wasn't doing well, and it was in an act of desperation that I ended up going full YOLO with this deck. And it's worked. Believe it or not, it has worked.
Okay guys, something important to keep in mind when playing Clash Royale is how much elixir each individual card costs. Don't spend time thinking about synergy between cards or countering the meta. All you need to know is that the higher your elixir cost, the more you'll win. That's a crucial guarantee.
And I want to show you some games to prove further that it works and teach you guys how to use it. I want you guys to be able to play this deck so that you too can have the fun that I'm having with it. Okay, first game, we're going up against Boss Hog. Boss Hog is, in my opinion, one of the better players in the game. So much so that you almost want to hate him for it. He's just a really talented player. And he's always very, very polite too. You never see him BMing really. So with each game, we start off one of two ways, right? We either want to drop our Golem or our P.E.K.K.A, followed by our Witch, or if we have a very bad hand, we'll just throw out a Balloon just to see how he reacts to it. Sometimes we'll get a tower off of that. But in this case, he drops Dragon. It's no problem for our Witch, and he pushes with a Hog and Spear Goblins on the left side. As I got more experience with the deck, I would start to ignore pushes like that, where they're kind of counter-pushing with like a Hog Rider. Only because the only thing that should scare us when we're playing this deck is getting 3-crowned. Right? If they're pushing with a P.E.K.K.A of their own, or double Prince, we need to respect that. Otherwise, we can let one of our towers go down in favor of going really hard for that 3-crown. But you can see here, we've won the trade, right? We have pretty good damage on both towers, the first one being almost down. And we drop our P.E.K.K.A just to deal with this Hog here. But if the game continued in this way, we would probably still win. Like, we don't need the 3-crown to win this game, because we're just kind of winning our trades. And a deck like Hog Freeze generally tries to win with one tower. So if we can continue defending, it's not a huge deal if we win by one tower, or if he maybe does take a tower, because we have so much damage on both of his towers. So I think what we're doing at this point is rock solid, right? We're not going to lose this game, at least in my opinion. The good news is I just earned a $10 gift card to use with Race Penguin. It's definitely my game, not my kids'. So I'm very excited about that. Can't wait to finish this video to play that game. Race Penguin, guys, check it out. Okay, so again, we're pushing here with our Golem. We get our Witch down. You can see her skeletons ripping apart that mini P.E.K.K.A. He's pushing over here with his Hog. And again, I'm defending where I shouldn't be. Right? I should just be pushing harder for that 3-crown. And because of that, he got some decent damage in with a freeze. So we could have just had a much stronger push on the right and maybe got a faster 3-crown out of it. That being said, though, it's looking really solid for us. We have just his entire King Tower wrapped around with minions. The balloons going in to kind of take that off. It was a pretty heavy win for us. But to Boss Hog credit, he generally beats me. He's just a really good player. But I'm happy to say we took that game with a 4.9 elixir deck. It's real, guys. The dream is real. Okay. On to the next one. Alright guys, next up is the top player and co-leader of Yodaphone. Now, he generally plays rather heavy decks, if I remember correctly. And in those decks, he often runs Skeleton Army. So that's something I'm watching for this game. But again, we start off the same way we try to start every game, with the heavy heavy minion. And in this game, we start with Golem. When I have the option to choose between the two, I generally pick Golem because it handles Inferno Towers better than P.E.K.K.A does. That said, he hasn't dropped anything yet, and I'm a little concerned, so I'm not dropping anything yet either. There's a skeleton army. Not worried about that at all. Worst case scenario, Golem blowing up will kill all of those off. But we had arrows, so that's convenient. He pushes here with a balloon, and I know a lot of you on Twitter said the deck is missing anti-air. This is how I handle anti-air. I completely ignore it. We're not concerned about this at all. He can take that tower, he can push a little bit on our king tower, and it doesn't affect us much because we're pushing for his 3 crown. That's all we care about. If he were to drop another balloon right now with like a mirror, then we'd have to respect it so he couldn't get a 3 crown on us. But he didn't have it here, and we have a heavy push going. He lightnings, but we have all the skeletons from the witch. You can see how much damage they're doing. And then again, more skeletons, and the tower's focusing on the knight, who's really tanky. So that was a pretty easy 3 crown for us. The game went really solid, just because most people aren't expecting us to go ham quite as hard as we're going ham. Alright, let's go on to the next one. Alright, so next up we've got Thorburn. This is another player that very often takes games from me. And he plays Hut Spam pretty regularly with Rage as well, quite often. He's one of the only top players I see consistently using Rage. In this game, I switched Knight for Ice Wizard, only because I think Ice Wizard does a better job reinforcing my pushes, so that I can actually get the 3 crown. If you don't have Ice Wizard, feel free to keep using Knight in this deck, because as you've seen, it's still very effective. So he drops Barbs right after my Witch goes, or right before my Witch goes down, which is unfortunate for him because it means a pretty big elixir advantage for me, only because the Witch kind of just deals with them very easily. Now, see the position of my P.E.K.K.A? That's the position you want P.E.K.K.A to be before you drop your balloon like I did. The reason for that is you want his tower to target your P.E.K.K.A or your Golem before it targets your balloon. That way your balloon can make it as far as possible and deal as much damage as possible. In this case, it took out not only the tower, but his spear hut as well, leading to just a ton of damage. You can see here that the balloon is still alive, still doing damage to the King Tower as well as the mini P.E.K.K.A. And that's just a really, really quick 3 crown. Okay, so we got one last game for you, and let's hop into that one. All right, guys. Last but not least, we have a game against the man, the myth, the legend, Molt himself. So Molt's a trick you got to play against because he rarely plays the same deck twice. The only thing I know he's not playing is Mortar or Expo. That's okay though, so we'll stick with our classic opening of Golem and Witch. Unfortunately, he drops P.E.K.K.A, and he throws a little BM out there. He knows that P.E.K.K.A counters Golem pretty hard, but that's alright. We're going to keep pushing, and hopefully use our freeze to get past the P.E.K.K.A. But at this point, Molt goes full YOLO.
About what? You serious? You don't know? Everybody knows you never go full
YOLO?
What do you mean? Check it out.
So it's a full mistake to drop P.E.K.K.A when I have Witch on the board, just because of how much work Witch does to P.E.K.K.A with her little skeletons. So because of that play, he's basically tapped an elixir. He has nothing left. If you watch his elixir bar for the rest of this game, he's just trying to defend, but we're pushing so hard with so much that he really can't defend. We drop another P.E.K.K.A. Again, we get the skeletons dealing with his old P.E.K.K.A, and then we just keep pushing. He drops another P.E.K.K.A, and you can see like he has no elixir. We have so much on the board. The Ice Wizard's doing work. He's hitting the skeletons and not our P.E.K.K.A. And we keep pushing. He's tapped out still. He drops a Dark Knight, but it's not enough because we have mini P.E.K.K.A and P.E.K.K.A up. At this point, it's over. I throw a little BM back just to be fair, and the game is done. And it's good and over with. So that's the deck, guys. I hope you like it. I hope you play around with it. Yes, it's a bit gimmicky, but it's fun, right? If you want to play a deck that's gonna win, there's plenty that you can see do that, right? Double Prince will do that for you. Mortar will do that for you. Play one of those decks if you're only concerned with winning, but if you want to have some fun with your wins, if you want to have a little swag, play this. At least try it out. It's a little hard to play, yeah, I'll admit that, and it is gimmicky, but it's viable. You can technically win with this and climb with this, and I'm probably going to keep playing with it for a while just because I'm having a blast with it. But there you go, guys. I'll try to be more consistent with future videos. I know it's been a while since my last video, but hopefully that kind of lapse doesn't happen often. Until next time, guys, this was Clash with Crucial.